What would I play if I was? I would probably play, I think... I don't know. It's really hard to say in this format because there's a lot of stuff that's very balanced. Or rather, the metagame has a lot of rock, paper, scissors stuff going on with more than 3 decks, but it's not like a lot of other formats where there is just clearly a best deck. Everything has its place. I think I would play Is It because it's the style I was most accustomed to. That does not mean it is the deck that I would recommend other players play necessarily. But yeah, I don't know. I don't actually have a super good answer. Esper is good right now. Is It is good because it beats Esper. Gruul beats both of those. Clerics beats Gruul. Brushstroke decks are kind of fair against everything. I don't think I can keep this on the play. I think I can keep this for sure. Keepo. I like Packleader so much, but I think I'm supposed to go with Ranger class to be guaranteed a 3-drop. Maybe that's wrong. GG, Shmi. I assume we just played? If so, that was a really interesting game. I super messed up game 1 forgetting that Vanishing Verse did things. Alright, Spikefield Hazard. So is this Dragons probably then? It's the most common Boros list. I think I'm happy to have kept Ranger class against... No, blue? Jeskai? Okay. You have my interest, opponent. Do we have an answer to this tutu? Nope. Alright. I'm going to say that it justifies having kept the Ranger class over Packleader by now. Yep, definitely Jeskai. Alright. So what are we doing with Jeskai, opponent? I think I'm playing Town-razer Tyrant over Halana and Alena here. I'm still not actually certain which of those I would generally prefer to play more often. Yeah, Dry Disruption is not terribly surprising. Would I prefer to play Halana and Alena here, or 2 creatures? I think I would prefer to play 2 creatures post-combat. Maybe not. I'm actually a little worried about what happens if my opponent plays a 5-mana board wipe. I think I should have played Ranger class and upgraded it. Yeah, I don't like this line that I took. That's an extremely good sign that they don't have a board wipe, though. They would not have bothered to divide by 0 the Ranger class if they were planning to board wipe next turn. Teachings? Alright. Okay. Expressive Iteration super rewards my line. Happy about that. Yeah. Fetching Teachings in that position when you're so close to dead on board, I don't know about. Generally in that spot, I think you either go for, like, if your hand is great, you go for Mascot Exhibition. If you desperately need to try to survive one more turn, you go for Sciences. And if Sciences isn't good enough, and you're just going to die on board without having any answers, I would generally loot. As the Gruul player, my hand size is so low here that, like, Teaching seems like the percentage of time where it's going to be useful is really low. So I think I want Snakeskin Veil and Outland Liberator, and I think I'm cutting Volatile Arsonist and Tenacious Pup. Yes, I believe that is still the plan against control. think about this hand? I feel like I'm on the draw and I gotta keep. I mean, Rahilda into Stormseeker is powerful against them. Okay. Hand is perfect, nothing was ever wrong. I don't know why you'd imply that. We never don't draw lands. Don't super love more Rahildas here. I would like if this Rahilda resolved so that we could start the day-night cycle, but it doesn't, so unfortunate. Alright, I'm going to Rahilda again, play Forsaken Crossroads on red, and then scry towards my 4th land drop. I don't terribly mind my opponent dividing Rahilda. Don't want the Packleader right now. This is a good spot for the opponent to have gotten teachings. He is good, and I haven't pressured them at all. Spike field gone. Alright. Land, and we get to play Tyrant. This we like to see. Slowly begin burning. Not as strong as it would be if their life total was lower, but stronger than not strong at all. One draws 2. Yep. Alright, more lands I do not hate. Would I rather play Packleader with haste? I'd probably rather play Packleader with haste than Rahilda. So, auto tapper, I'm wrong, you're right. Everything possible that I can do to make sure that I'm hitting land drops right now is important to me. And attacking with Packleader is the best way to guarantee that. Also, it's more damage. And that's also good. Okay, so the opponent doesn't have any removal. That's a really good sign, especially because having lost that much life now makes the Town-razer Tyrant burning likely to cut them off mana a lot sooner. What do they discard to get that Electrolyze? Spike field. Okay. Ooh, they already sacked the land. Good sign for me. Presumably opponent board wipes here. Yep. Okay. Well, we attempt Tyrant. What you got to say about that? Nothing good. Start the burning. And I will play a Packleader, because if that manages to not get blown up, it's the best creature. Burning Hands. Okay. Well, Rahilda also died to that, and so did the 2/2. Okay, opponent immediately sacks a land again. I gotta feel like that's pretty decent for me. But it implies that they don't have anything to do anyway, which I guess that's also good for me. So everything about my opponent sacking land is probably a good thing for me. I guess I also couldn't cast Rahilda because I used all my red sources already. Town-razer Tyrant continues to be good against Izzet. Who could have seen this coming? I didn't actually think about what time we're gonna stop tonight. I guess maybe if we just make it to Mythic, then I stop then. Because I did have plans to stream tomorrow, and I have absolutely no idea how long I'm going to stream tomorrow. By the way, the plan for that is that... this is not a great hand. Well, I guess I can play Forsaken Crossroads on 1 and scry, and then we'll probably find a 1 or a 2 drop. That's fine. So tomorrow, I'm going to try to totally blind stream the new Yu-Gi-Oh game. I know basically nothing about it, and I have never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to have absolutely no clue what I'm doing. Should be fun. Okay, Halana and Alena is at least something. Green and scry, please. Definitely don't want more lands. Tenacious Pup. When my opponent's on the play, in the mirror, I feel like that's gonna go badly. What Yu-Gi-Oh game? I think it's called Master Duel or something. Master Link, maybe? Something like that? I'm pretty sure it's Master. Master something. Okay, opponent missing a land drop is a good sign. Tenacious Pup means the opponent gets to draw with Werewolf Packleader. It's less of a good sign. Alright. This is awkward. My life total, not good. Master Duel, it's on Steam. Ah. Duel Links is the one that's been around for a bit. Okay. So that Duel Links was also a thing. Wasn't stuck in my head for no reason. That's good to hear. I always appreciate a little bit of evidence that I'm not quite crazy yet. Can't actually block here. I need my opponent to miss this land drop and not have something to do. I feel like I might have been able to win this game if I had a 1 or 2 drop like the plan was to draw. Being able to block slightly earlier would have been such a relevant factor here. Okay, so I take 5 damage currently if they attack with everything and they draw 2 cards. Going to 2, not great. In fact, probably pretty bad. No! Opponent! Oh my goodness, Tenacious Pup is so good. Oh, Tenacious Pup, you beautiful, wonderful thing. You gain a life. You have no idea how important that is to me. Oh, Tenacious Pup, I love you. I would like to scry Kessig Naturalist. Is that good enough? It is a creature. I think I'm just in the market for literally a creature right now. I think we stack the counters on the thing that has Vigilance so that it can attack. Okay, 4 blockers. I think I can actually win this. I think this is doable. Oh, I forgot I was drawing a card off Tovolar. I shouldn't have played the Forsaken Crossroads. We could have drawn into a 1-drop. So, blockety. Blockety. No. Blockety. Blockety. Blockety? Is that the best I got? No, it's not. Blockety, blockety. That's the best I got, surely. I think my opponent just dies, right? Why not put the +1/+0 on the Reckless, like 1 extra damage? Because by putting the +1 on Halana and Alena, it puts a number of counters equal to its power. So the way that resolved, it put 3 counters on Reckless Stormseeker instead of 2. So the Reckless Stormseeker's power actually wound up being the same, but it was in the form of a +1/+1 counter instead of a temporary boost that would go away. You have to make sure to stack the triggers so that the Reckless Stormseeker trigger resolves first, but it does work. Yeah, Arena does default stack it in the right order, so as long as you don't accidentally switch it around, it works. Alright, so for the mirror, I generally assumed Caretakers, Halana and Alena, cut Town-razer Tyrants, cut Packleaders, bring in Thundering Rebukes, bring in Burning Hands, bring in Brittle Blast. Was I bringing in Snakeskin Veil? I don't recall. I don't think I was on the draw. What else was I bringing in? Vaguish question. That last game you kept a hand without 1 and 2 drops. Are you generally willing to do that with this deck game 1? So part of the reason that I did that was that my 3 drops were both pretty decent, and I had a Forsaken Crossroads, and I was on the draw. I don't know if that's correct to do with this deck, but I figured that being able to play... I had 2 draw steps towards a 2-drop, 1 draw step towards a 1-drop, and if I missed on the draw step towards a 1-drop, I was getting to scry into a possible 2-drop. So I figured that specifically Forsaken Crossroads made that an interesting keep. I don't know if it was correct. I don't think it's ideal, for sure. I think it must have been Snakeskin Veil. I think that's what I must have been bringing in. It was really inconvenient that Stormfist Crusader plus Sir Reginald, there was no single way to stack it that was right every turn, so you had to think about it. Sir Reginald. What's that card? Sir... yeah, I actually have no clue. What is Sir Reginald? This hand... yeah, I can't mulligan it, but I actually don't like this at all. But I kept in the pack leaders. That's interesting. Well, they're on the play, so it's slightly more correct on the play, I think. But I'm super nervous trying to keep in pack leaders because it feels like there's a lot of stuff that comes down that just immediately invalidates it. Tenacious Pup, 1 turn late. Very not good. Oh, Rotting Registrar. Okay. Alright, Thundering Rebuke. Sure. Would like to draw a green source. Okay, actually, you know what? Deck, good point. Rahilda was definitely a better draw. And now we hope they don't have more removal. Because Rahilda holds off my opponent's attacks extremely well. Okay, they have more removal, but they also missed land drops again, so they can't attack with the pack leader here. No blocks. Halana and Alena, pretty excellent, but... Alright, no attacks. But we're missing the 4th land drop, so that's less stellar. Opponent finds a land drop. Opponent plays Stormseeker. Stormseeker can attack as a 3/3 and just trades with my Stormseeker. I would definitely prefer to do that. Well, hold on. Having Stormseeker in play is so good if I hit an untapped land to play Halana and Alena. And if I fail to do that, I get to Brittle Blast my opponent's Stormseeker anyway. I think that's worth not taking this trade. Rewarded. No attacks. I am defense. So if my opponent plays Halana and Alena this turn, I have Brittle Blast, more removal. Okay, but, I mean, I got a 5/6 now, so what are you doing, opponent? Oh, thank you, deck. How much removal you got, opponent? Opponent's got approximately that much removal. What other 2-drops do I have? I'm actually... yeah, I don't know. This is a weird hand. I don't know if I should keep. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to keep a hand like this. I'm going to keep a hand like this because I don't have any alternatives. What are we supposed to get rid of here? I think I'm supposed to get rid of pack leader. If I don't actually hit my 2nd land drop, I lose the game anyway, so yeah, whatever. Ranger class on 2, was it? Yeah. That sounds correct. Did they actually have to rebuke that? Yeah, we're going to play pack leader and hate it. They could have just leveled up Ranger class and traded? Jwari's Eruption. I don't know if that's good for me or bad. Probably bad. Probably bad. I actually don't think they should Jwari's Eruption there. I think if I'm missing land drops, you care more about having your land drop. And me having a 1/2 isn't the world's biggest deal. Did they just... No, I'm just going crazy. I thought they made their land drop already, but actually I'm just missing land drops, and that's thrown off my entire perception of the game. Well... Good timing, Lair of the Hydra. Excellently done. I think I'm just supposed to play Naturalist here. My ability to play out multiple things next turn is relevant to me, and Naturalist helps with that. Okay, divide by 0. That's extremely bad. Well, what? They must have a 4-drop they want to play, because otherwise I would imagine Teachings of the Archaic is the way you would prefer to make this land drop. What? You didn't cast Environmental Sciences into key? Why? Because we're discarding that? Because you already have too many land drops? But if you have too many land drops, why not? You didn't have a land drop. Huh, okay. Well, I don't get it, but that doesn't mean you didn't have a plan, opponent. Yeah, this is still pretty bad. I guess I'm going to play Stormseeker and hope they don't have Fading Hope. Please, just be Spikefield Hazard. Don't have Fading Hope. Don't have Lightning Bolt? I don't think I'm going to win this one. Even odd plays giving me some openings that I shouldn't have. I don't think I can beat just the... I think if my opponent has no cards in hand, I still can't beat this. Okay. Good game. I cannot. Guess I should have kept the opener. Alright, Snakeskin Veil, Outland Liberator, cut Volatile Arsonist. Still don't remember what else I'm supposed to cut. Was it Tenacious Pup? I wish I could remember. No. Against is it? There's an interesting difference between the desire to play Pup against a Braid as a removal spell that takes all your 3-drops out of a Braid range versus how bad it is to play Pup when your opponent bounces your next spell. I'm not sure whether that makes me value Pup more or less. We will take the play. We will mulligan the hand. Alright, deck. Alrighty. We're going to keep this and ship the Halana and Alena, I think. Maybe I'm not supposed to keep the Snakeskin Veil? No, 2 4-drops isn't something that I can keep. It's fine, we'll just draw lands. We got all of our not drawing lands out of the way in the last game. There's a Tenacious Pup, precisely in time to not be relevant. Smoldering Egg. Thanks, I hate it. Okay, well, we're not hitting land drops, and that's ungreat. Decidedly turbo ungreat. Oh, what do we do against a Smoldering Egg? Unfortunately, Smoldering Egg on 2, I think, is the absolute best thing that Izzet can be doing against Gruul, so I'm sad to see that my opponent drew that. And I'm still missing land drops, which continues to be a problem. My opponent could totally just transform Egg this turn. I would have a slightly easier time here if I had another green source, because I could at least hold up Snakeskin Veil to protect my 4/4, which has a small outside chance of winning the game. There's like literally nothing my opponent could do that I'd be happy about right now, other than abrading my 4/4 and then conceding. Okay, literally nothing? Literally nothing is at least sort of okay good. Please don't Fading Hope my 5/5. Okay, just take damage is good. I do want to add a land to this deck. Yes. Unexpected Windfall. That's only horrible. Okay. The Razor not being capitalized is kind of weird, but you know what? You want some cursed knowledge that's going to hurt you? Go look up the French version of every Magic card that's ever been printed. It's painful. The capitalization is like non-existent, and they use semicolons instead of dashes everywhere. It's scary looking stuff. Hey, cool, I'm on the play, which means this is a tapped land. Radical. Opponent, I know you have your choice on how to hurt me, but please. Please just have no cards in hand. I have to use my Snakeskin Veil to... Oh no. Horror has a... Well, okay, that could have been worse. That's going to the bottom. Wouldn't mess with Frank Karsten's mana base. I mean... I like... Okay, so... There's a difference between an optimal mana base and an optimal mana base for the types of mulligans that you are inclined to make. I think I'm inclined to keep slightly sketchy hands. My opponent actually did nothing. I think the fact that I'm inclined to keep slightly sketchy hands makes me... slightly more inclined towards more lands in my deck. And by greedy, I mean like just planning top deck lands. I think that's my bias while mulliganing. Do you actually not have anything, opponent? Okay, they actually don't have anything. What are you... What's going on? What am I supposed to do? What was the point of pumping the wolf there? It potentially played around Hullbreaker Horror. Because if they played Hullbreaker Horror and snap blocked, I could have some option of Snakeskin Veiling the wolf token to kill the horror. Which wasn't a good out, but it was like an option that I thought might have been relevant. The opponent's like infinity likely to be on counter spells here, right? Quick sideboard questions. Are there matchups where you cut or trim on Ranger class or Rahilda? Not currently, there aren't. I think I just play post-combat Stormseeker. I don't want to play Town-razer Tyrant into Dwarf Disruption. I think it's too likely that's what the opponent's got here. Oh wow, they actually had horror. Yeah, that's probably bad for me. I was really hoping they would get greedy with horror and block the 7/7. Key, sure. I think if I'm going to win this, I need to force them... I need to be mana efficient with the limited mana I have available. And I think that means Snakeskin Veiling here. Opponent's got 2 mana available. I currently have lethal if they don't have a spell they can cast. I play the other Stormseeker, give it double haste, put a counter on Stormseeker. I think that's what I gotta go for. It's kind of narrow and it's unlikely to work. Especially because the opponent has priority here. But I don't think I can win through like literally anything at all. Okay. That's maybe almost nothing enough that they discarded a land, a key. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, and there's another Galvanic in the graveyard still. They didn't even copy the Time Warp to kill me super hard? Opponent, I'm insulted. That was lethal if you copied Time Warp. I don't know. Both those games were kind of non-games because of my lack of land drops, but I feel like there were possible times that maybe I wasn't supposed to play around Hullbreaker Horror where I did. No, giving the opponent the opportunity to misplay the horror there I think was my best out to a horror. Alright, opponent's on the play, we successfully connect. One assumes, I go and run to let the cat in because he's hitting the door. Wait, I don't need to have these on anymore. And I can actually turn the sound on. And then I can mulligan this hand. Mulligan. This hand is awful, we'll keep. Alright, kitty cat. Yeah, you want to go? What did we draw? Rahilda? Yeah, it's not terrible. Oh, that feels nice to not have anything in my ear. Okie dokie, upsy daisies. Red black, huh? Interesting. Packleader also interesting. Rahilda also interesting. Am I supposed to prioritize Rahilda over Packleader if Packleader doesn't draw a card next turn? Maybe? I don't know. I'm wildly uncertain which is the correct play here. Snow? Does that mean it's a Blood on the Snow deck? Because I don't think that's for Frostbite. Sciences. Okay. Interesting things are occurring over on opponent's side of the board. I feel like I saw a list recently that was playing Igneous Inspiration, but I don't remember what it was. I wonder if... Do you play Igneous Inspiration in lists that have the pseudo multi-kicker 2-drop vampire? It'd be kind of cool. I'll decline to sacrifice this. I will play a forest. I will play Ranger class. Actually, no, I was debating if I wanted to activate Packleader and swing, but they just blocked my Ascendant Packleader, and that's pretty bad for me, I think. I think I'm just Ranger class, upgrade, swing with 3/3, turning into 4/4. Opponent probably doesn't want to chump block. Rakdos mid-range with Bloodthirsty Adversary. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that's a pretty terrible matchup for this deck. I think that's like the Rakdos deck's best matchup. There's just a lot of removal there. But Ranger class is pretty good against them, so that gives us some hope. Plan make land drops and try to top deck with Ranger class is good against a deck that is sort of slow. I think I sack Rockfall Vale this turn. Because I'm probably just activating Ranger class if we don't draw a creature. There's only one 5-drop in the deck. I think it is incorrect to hit the token instead of the pack leader. Because if I do draw a 4-drop, the pack leader does +1 power over the token. Maybe they don't care and they care more about the toughness? Possible. Mascot Exhibition, yeah. Take action, sacrifice land. Draw 4-drop, okay. Opponent is immediately punished. We will definitely hit a snow land. I think I would rather hit their red than their black currently. I'm not familiar with how many board wipes this deck plays. Also, I know for a fact the opponent's deck plays the 2-mana instant speed, deal 2 damage. So that means the choice on turn 2 to play Rahilda instead of Werewolf Packleader was wrong. I didn't have an idea what my opponent was playing at that point, but that is a interaction that makes it better to play the 3/3 against them, generally. It's usually an okay sign if your opponent's taking a lot of time to think about what they're going to do. Not always the best sign, but it's an okay sign, generally. Would I rather upgrade Ranger class in this position? Or attack with Lair of the Hydra for 4? I think I'm probably supposed to attack with Lair of the Hydra. Yeah, if the opponent is actually taking time, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. I suppose it's not that it's a sign of anything if the opponent's taking time, but I do usually feel encouraged if my opponent suddenly slows their play down from the pace they were playing earlier. Brittle Blast, Town-razer Tyrant, sure. Then go to 4. Alright, that makes the Burninating real appealing. If the opponent wants to cast Mascot Exhibition this turn, they have to go to 2. Opponent decides not to cast the Mascot Exhibition this turn. Love to see it. Oh, you're very cute, kitty. I know, I know. You try so hard to let me know. I appreciate it. Town-razer Tyrant, that's not... Oh, it is good enough because it shuts off the Lair ability, huh? Okay. Well, I'm going to pay to keep that around because I care about being able to level up Ranger class plus play Pup. Decline to sack. Draw a land. Okay. Is there anything I can hit on 2 mana that's relevant here? Off of Ranger class? Not really, but I might as well. Okay. Well. Pretty sure I'm supposed to swing with Pack Leader. Oh, I really wish I had drawn a 4-drop, don't I? I would have just gotten to eat the Tyrant and keep my Pack Leader around. But Opponent's about to resolve Mascot Exhibition in all likelihood, so I don't want them to have a Tyrant in play. I just don't have good answers to the opponent playing Mascot Exhibition currently. We're gonna have to top deck well. Yeah, I think we're losing this land at this point. Okay, Halana and Alena's a good start. Stormseeker, good next turn. Alright, alright. Don't think I'm attacking with Tenacious Pup here, but okay. Not strictly perfect, but pretty decent. How much removal you got for me, opponent? Town-razer Tyrant is surprisingly not scary here. Second spell to turn it back to day is pretty bad, though. Not like the worst thing in the world, but a bummer. Okay, no second spell. We are going to decline to sacrifice this for the time being, because if we hit a second Stormseeker, we're extremely happy about having 6 mana. Okay. I would describe this as a good start. Where do we go with these triggers, opponent? We go good places. So this one on Storm Charge, this one on Halana and Alena, this one on this Storm Charged. Pop, 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 pop. I'm going to go with plan swing with everybody, and we'll see how this works out. I wonder if I should put the counter on Stormcharge Slasher to play around a removal spell better. Diversify my threats amongst stuff that, if they have a removal spell, leaves them not wanting to play it on the best creature. There's a lot of math involved here. Okay, not my problem. Let's see. I would like Snakeskin Veil, I think, and I like Avabruck Caretaker. Do I want Halana and Alena? That might be too vulnerable to removal spells. Do I want Town-razer Tyrant? They do seem like a deck that's mana hungry enough that maybe Town-razer Tyrant is fine. I definitely don't want Arsonist. Do I want Pup? Igneous Inspiration as a 4/of kind of makes Pup have some value. I think I cut Naturalist, probably. Although Naturalist making mana for Caretaker is kind of interesting in a sacrifice yourself kind of way. Probably not impactful enough. Halana and Alena might not be Stormseeker, but I think it's close enough that I don't think you can cut them against blue decks. Yeah, I don't think there's any matchup where I ever would cut the Halana and Alenas. I think there's only matchups where I would bring them in, which is like matchups where board stalls based on creature power and toughness happen. I do think 4 is probably too many against the blue decks, though. You know what? We're gonna keep it. What's the worst that could happen? I kind of think there might be merit to just making land drops against the opponent. So, like, a hand that's just guaranteed to make land drops and has the ability to top deck into stuff, I think that there is actual consideration to this. Plus, we can just play on curve every single turn if we just top deck spells on curve, right? Opponent stealing Stormseeker is kind of sad. But I guess it could be worse. Alright. Lands is awkwards. Plan make 6 land drops and then play Avabruck Caretaker is still a go, though. Willing to swing with Valky, huh? Okay. I guess lowering my life total does make it harder for me to... Yeah, I'm assuming that just means they have a dragon they want to play on 4. That would make the most sense. Sure. I be grasped. I can't hold this pack leader back to block, because if I block, they just activate Valky and turn it into a 2-3. Need my opponent to not play a dragon here. Ignis Inspiration is not good, but it could be worse. I would like to draw my own dragon here. Good work, deck. Alright, what is this on? Red, red, red. So we're going to go after the black source. Yeah, my opponent takes the damage. That's not super surprising. Teaching me your top decking skills. Well, I mean, we top decked a 1-drop and a 4-drop. And the rest have been lands. So I don't know that this is actually that stellar of a top deck situation. But I do appreciate top decking the 4-drop. That part was nice. But I think we're on approximately run averages currently. Is it a good sign that my opponent's playing the Spikefield Cave? Yeah, Loth's not good for me. That's 2-turn lethal right there. Oh, okay. That's not 2-turn lethal if they decide not to attack with the Valky for some reason. So, cool. Alright. Gonna play this Rahilda. That would have been a really good turn to top deck a 6-drop. You wasted your 1 time on a dragon on a ladder? Oh, I've wasted my 1 times a lot. We had a Hydra to block Valky. Wasn't it tapped? I thought it was tapped. I think it was tapped. Yeah, because I definitely played it on turn 5, because I played the dragon on 4. Ooh. Now, however, I have the Lair to block Valky. We shall see if the opponent remembers this. Yeah, Mascot Exhibition seems like it's going to be a problem. Opponent has played only 1 spell so far. I am going to remember to play around Spikefield Hazard. I get the feeling my opponent's going to play an instant speed electrostatic whatever on Lair of the Hydra, and I'm going to be really sad that I... Oh, no, they're not. I was going to say I was going to be really sad that I couldn't activate Lair of the Hydra for 0 to fizzle their spell, but this works. Okay, and I've got my Stormseeker back, and it is night. Is one going to Spikefield my face to stop it from being night? No. Cool. Okay. Well, these draws were alright. Deals combat damage to a player, but not to a planeswalker. Well, we're going to try to do 6 to our opponent's face and see where that takes us. Okay, this is a much better spot than I thought we were going to be when the opponent decided to attack with the Valky. Okay. Alright. I mean, it turns back to day, and the opponent's probably not going to let it flip to night. But... But we have much more of a chance than I deserve to have here. Alright, you can cast Mascot Exhibition, opponent. I don't know if I can beat Mascot Exhibition, to be honest. If they just attack with the 2 spiders and play Mascot Exhibition, I'm in a pretty tough time. Because Den plus 2 spiders is lethal. And I don't think I can get through the Mascot Exhibition blockers. Okay. But I don't care about Town-razer Tyrant, opponent. But why did we not play Mascot Exhibition? How come? Even if you've got a removal spell, surely pressuring my life total was better here. I would like to sack that. I don't think I need it. If I draw exactly a 1-drop, then I will regret having sacked it. No, I mean 2 life is still 2 life. Alright, Hexproof 6-drop. Here we go. Sad that it's not night, but what you gonna do? What are we putting counters on here? Tovolar? Maybe? Probably. Do I still have to swing? What happens if I don't swing? Do I just die? Den, Town-razer. Town-razer puts me to 6. Block Den. Block a spider. Take 3, go to 3. Igneous can't hurt me here. I don't think I can swing profitably. I could swing with Tovolar is the one thing that I might be able to do. What shape am I in if I swing with Tovolar, though? Because I kind of need it to turn to night. But the fact that they played Town-razer instead of Mascot says they probably have removal spell here. I think swinging with Tovolar is a... I don't know. I guess it buys me some time. My concern is that they just trade Town-razer Tyrant and a Spider with Tovolar here, and then Mascot Exhibition, and I don't know that I'm beating that. Okay. They didn't kill Tovolar? Oh, Spikefield Hazard. Okay. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't terrible for me? They can make spiders with Lolth and then Mascot Exhibition now. Maybe that was something I was supposed to not let them do? Okay, well, that wasn't making spiders, so I don't care. Have the ability to double block a spider. There's the Mascot Exhibition. Well, does that mean the opponent's not attacking? Okay. Well, then I think I'm just playing as many things as possible. Am I attacking with anything? That I do not know. I could attack with something that's got 5 toughness. Forces a double block. Needs to have 6 power. It will. Nothing has trample. Have to be worried about Den. Think that I'm supposed to do this. So they can either chump block or throw a 4-1 and a 2-1 in front of it. Oh, right. Yeah, this works. But they choose to get rid of the flyer instead of one of the ground creatures? That seems probably wrong. Walt gets some loyalty, sure. You can downtick without dying, but I don't think they cared about it dying previously, so I don't think that actually makes a difference to me. Really? Alright, opponent. I mean, 2 is a valid life total. Might not be that much different from 3, honestly. Yeah, yes, inspiration. Don't love it. It does mean they can attack with spiders, and I have to trade my pack leader if I want to kill the spider. which would be bad for me. They get rid of Sorin? Oh, opponent is on 1 black source. I see. I probably have been neglecting how restrictive that is. Interesting. I am so incredibly glad that we chose a black source with the Tyrant earlier. Speaking of which, it would be real cool to draw a Tyrant right now. My opponent attacks with the 2 spiders and... Well, attack with 1 spider? Close to lethal on their next turn? Well, I'm glad that the opponent is giving me infinity time. I think I gotta play the land here. I'm not winning by bluffing anything right now. But Knight is cool. It would have been really nice to draw Town-razer Tyrant there. Get to shut off the swamp. Down to 1. Opponent! All you have to do is downtick the lull, and I've been dead for so many turns. Does Town-razer Tyrant target? No. Target land you don't control. That's so unfair. Alright, well, Town-razer Tyrant. I think at this point I actually have to target the den instead of the swamp, though. I'm too close to dead, otherwise. I am dead, right? There's literally no way I can survive this. I got like infinity creatures with menace. Ooh, we tried so hard. Couldn't get there. One and two are close to the same, other than that I have... I get to kill Sedmore Witch here. Radical. Other than that I have sources of trample. But not during the day, I don't. Alright, opponent. You gotta successfully click the right card with Den? Okay. Right option with Den, rather. Okay, I think this time the opponent probably sees lethal, but we're gonna see if at long last they can resist zeroing Lolth. They successfully resist zeroing Lolth for the first time. Doesn't that block lose to Snakeskin Veil? No, because they still have super lethal on the backswing. It didn't really matter that they blocked Avabruck Caretaker with enough to kill it. Yeah, I think we're fine here. Hey Chris, been following you on and off today. Any improvements on the matchups against the other aggros like Cleric, etc. with this deck? And how's this Gruul deck against Esper and Izzet? The matchup against Esper has felt very good. The matchup against Izzet has felt fine. I'm still not entirely... Well, this seems alright. I'm still not entirely certain if the matchup is ideal against Clerics. I don't think that the matchup is fine, or is... I don't think the matchup is horrible. I'm not certain whether Tangle Trap is better or worse than... that other card that we were playing. I might prefer a split, I guess. Do we go for double green or double red here? I think we're supposed to go for double red. Perfect. Absolutely lands is what I want. Is this Karsten's list? Mostly. I've been tweaking the sideboard because I'm concerned about clerics, and I'm trying to figure out what is best against that. Luckily for me, my hand is very good against Valky. It's amusing that stealing Town-razer Tyrant with Valky isn't actually super good. Do you take the Tovolar, opponent? Is that what you think I want to play next turn? It is. They don't know the card I kept on top is a land, but they can deduce pretty easily that it probably is. Okay, I think Stormseeker was wrong. I think Tovolar was the card that I wanted to play this turn more, specifically with Pup swinging into Valky. Boop. You want to block, opponent? Nope, I get to draw cards. Drawing cards seems extremely good against their deck that's all about removal and being grindy. So I don't think that's what they wanted to let me do. Pretty sure they were supposed to take Tovolar and let me hit them for more damage. Is the other card Brittle Blast? No, I don't think Brittle Blast is good at all against Cleric. Or I don't think that it's ideal against Clerics, rather, I should say. It's Tangle Trap, and the one we are playing is Plummet. Plummet, that's the name. I knew I would get there eventually. I usually do. Ooh, Reckless Stormseeker is interesting. Probably still worse than Town-razer Tyrant, though. What are we going after with Town-razer Tyrant? The more restricted mana? I think, given last game, I'm inclined to continue going after black sources, and the bonus perk of shutting off the creature land, I think, breaks the tie. If my opponent mind rots me here, what am I discarding? I think it'd be Caretaker land. You sure, opponent? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think Valky's attacking into the 4/4. I am definitely allowing my lands to do damage to me because I have this Caretaker. Okay, Town-razer Tyrant sounds wonderful. That sounds better than a Stormseeker. What did you name? Red? Okay, I think that means I go for the other black source again. Opponent super wants to make this trade. That is the best move available to them, yes. Oh, I could have attacked with a Pup there. They weren't going to block Town-razer Tyrant on Pup. And I think I would have been happy if they did. Whoa. You sure you can sack lands there, opponent? Also, yeah, okay, no, that wasn't a basic swamp. I don't think you could do that, opponent. They may have misclicked. I imagine that named black? Yes, yes it did. Sorin, okay. Opponent makes a 2/3, not surprising. You still don't think you want to attack with Valky, opponent? Untap land would be cool. Failing that, Town-razer Tyrant would be cool. Failing that, Halana and Alena would be cool. Tovolar. Is Tovolar cool? I don't think Tovolar is particularly cool just yet. Do I want to swing at Sorin? I could kill Sorin. Is that correct? Or do I swing at my opponent in the face instead? I think I swing at Sorin. I think the existence of a 2/3 next turn is something that I'm supposed to remove. Opponent could double block Stormseeker here. I think I would have to kill the 2/3 if they do that. They could also save the Sorin with double chump blocks, but I don't know that that's great for them. They let Sorin take the damage. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. I think that's probably what they were supposed to do. I don't know if that's what I was supposed to do, but I think that's what they were supposed to do in response. Town-razer Tyrant. Alright, yeah, that definitely does a lot of burning for me. That's 2 lands worth of burning. Basic forest, huh? Okay. Yeah, I guess there really wasn't an alternative to that. Swinging with the 2-3 and not planning to block with it, huh? It's probably fine. Alright, let's hit an untap land so I can sack these burning lands next turn. I'm kind of losing this race now. Oh, gosh, Lair, that's so bad. Yuck. Yeah, I'm definitely in trouble now. What happens if I swing with everybody? They block Town-razer Tyrant on Stormseeker. Take 9. Go to 4. Go to 6. Huh. Put me to 3. No, I'd add Igneous Inspiration. Oh, I'd add Igneous Inspiration if I just swing with the Town-razer Tyrant. Huh. So I'm going to have to not swing with the Town-razer Tyrant? That would suck if that's the case, and I think that is the case. Okay. A trade could be worse for me. Yeah, that's true. If we swing with none, it turns to night. If I'm willing to take that much damage, maybe I'm supposed to value that. But their deck is like all removal, so I don't think there's a very high chance that they have no removal. Yeah. Brittle Blast, the Town-razer Tyrant, swing for 2. I have to double block Bloodthirsty Adversary here. I'm just not going to be able to do anything about that 2-3, huh? I think that's going to kill me. What are your thoughts about Town-razer Tyrant's design? I like it. I think that it's fair. How are we doing this? I mean, Town-razer Tyrant is a good 4-drop aggressive card. I think that it's considerably better than something like Chariot that's just good in like every deck and against everything. Town-razer Tyrant is specifically a card that's a good aggressive card against slow controlling decks. Like, for example, I think it's not correct for the opponent to be playing Town-razer Tyrant against us. Most of the time, I imagine they should be cutting it. And I think that that's a reasonable place for a card's designed to be. Oh, how are we answering this? I could pay 4, go to 3, die to Igneous Inspiration. Might have to be okay with that. Alternatively, sack both lands, hope to top deck Halana and Alena. How's that as an out? No. I can't go to 3 because Valky transforms and does 1 more damage in the air. So I have to sack 1 and keep the other and hope to top deck either... I think it just has to be untap land into Halana and Alena. Alright. Step 1... they don't have a menace land. That's currently burning. So they can't activate it. But we do still die to Igneous Inspiration either way. We also die to, like, any creature that costs less than 3 mana. Well, that's not true. I have 2 blockers on the ground. So any flyer was lethal. They cost less than 3, which I don't actually... Or 3 or less. I don't think they have any. I think Sorin's their only thing they could have played there. Opponent? Opponent, wasn't that super wrong? They must have Spikefield Hazard. I can't imagine any other reason that they would want to remove their 2/3 that was threatening lethal. I will take action and sack this. I will play a Stormseeker. I don't think I'm supposed to swing here. That feels weird, but I think I'm supposed to play around Bloodthirsty Adversary. Igneous Inspiration and Spikefield both kill me. Untap land means I could swing with both Stormseekers? What? Huh, okay. So they up to Tibalt? Or do you minus on the Stormseeker to have lethal next turn? Yeah, okay. I can sort of play around that if I draw an untapped land. Or Packleader? Okay. Sure. Alright. That was a good draw. So I get to kill the Tibalt. And then play a blocker for the Stormseeker. Alright. Opponent's Black Source still burning. Alright, what have they done? Nothing yet? Dead to Meathook. We're dead to if they kept land into Meathook. Yes. Now they're down to 1 Black Source again. Well, it's really going. I gotta switch that out tomorrow. Oh, as in dead on board to Meathook. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so I was supposed to give the 4/4 haste and then chump block the 3/3. Yep, you're super right. Super correct. Hive was burning because of a Tyrant, so it couldn't activate. Yeah, so I play the 2/3, I give the 3/3 haste, then I chump block their 3/3, and then I don't have a ton of outs at that point. I guess I have 1 more chump block with the high, or with the Lair. There was a way out of it there. I wasn't necessarily winning, but I had at least 2 blocks I could make on the Stormseeker that didn't leave me dead immediately. Being too hard on myself? No, I mean, like, I am fully comfortable with the idea that I misplay constantly. I think that's a very healthy mindset to have. It's not healthy to necessarily obsess over it, but I would prefer to feel like I am getting better at Magic than to feel like I am good at Magic. And being willing to identify every single mistake is in pursuit of getting better at Magic. The meat hook play was weird. I think that was definitely a mistake from them. I think we had like no chance to win that game if they just kept their creatures on board. Sand's almost tempting, but I don't think I'm supposed to keep it. This hand's real bad and I'm not supposed... Well, I'm supposed to keep it, but I shouldn't be as excited about it as I am. Don't think you misplayed, though? No, I mean, I super misplayed. That was just extremely wrong what I did. I left myself dead on board because of the meat hook that they had in play. If I had looked at that board for like 10 minutes, I would have been able to identify that the play that I took was guaranteed to lose. And that there was one play that was, better. This game, I don't think is going to go super well because the opponent has played Fearsome Whelp on turn 2 on the play, but maybe they don't have creatures. That happens sometimes. We will keep the 4th land. Okay, opponent didn't have a 4-drop. That's a start. You got a Dragonfire opponent? I wonder if I wasn't... No, I'm never supposed to not play the Tovolar there. It's interesting to make a Town-razer Tyrant a 5/5 against them. Just because so much of their stuff is statted as a 4/4, but... I mean, like, not doing anything this turn is bad, and also the potential to draw a card is good. You're supposed to Dragonfire Tovolar. Oh, they're choosing modes on it, because it requires you to select like a billion cards. Okay, they don't have a Dragonfire. That's a good sign. Wonder what their hand is, then. Must just be a lot of 5- and 6-drop dragons. Storm-Carved Coast. Really? Huh. Opponent just kept like 6 lands in a whelp. That's part of why the dragons deck can be sketchy, but no, I suspect it's mostly that they had dragons that cost more than 4. As appears to be the case. Alright, well that could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. Why didn't you do that last turn, opponent? I'm confused, but okay. Unfortunately, this could have been a lot better, too. Well, trading Town-razer Tyrant with Goldspan Dragon now. Sacking the land? Okay. Adult Gold Dragon, okay. I might actually prefer to trade with Adult Gold Dragon to Goldspan Dragon. Deny my opponent a little bit of life gain. Might end up mattering. I guess it also would blocked Fearsome Whelp, though again I don't think that matters very much. Maybe it does. I'd lose 3 life. Remove a Fearsome Whelp. It's close. Chris, how do you handle losing to a misplay? I ask because for me, there's nothing worse than losing to a misplay. I'm extremely hard on myself to the point I end up playing too slow compared to a typical arena player. So, I decided a long time ago that I was never going to be good at Magic, and that as a result, the only thing I was going to care about was if I felt like I had gotten better at Magic, because that felt like a more attainable goal. And so I have since then viewed every single mistake as a moment that I get to point to and say, okay, this mistake just made me better at Magic. And that to me helps me feel like, all right, well, if I'm getting better, then it doesn't matter that I lost. Okay, I guess I can hit a Tenacious Pup here off of the Tovolar draw trigger, and that gains me a life and keeps me alive. Not like particularly likely or good or going to win the game after that. To reiterate, being good at Magic is a myth perpetuated by Big Magic. Yes. I cannot think of any possible worse thing for your mental state than to desire to be good at Magic, because there is nothing that is less possible. We're going to board into 4 Plummets. See how that works. And then 3 Thundering Rebukes and a Brittle Blast. I'm going to go big anti-dragons. Let's got the Rahildas. Let's got the Packleaders. Let's got the Arsonist. Let's... What else are we cutting? Naturalist? Nah, Naturalist is probably cool. Pup seems good with Town-razer Tyrant, though. Alright. You're gone, Tovolar. I knew here you had me at Gruul Aggro. Good to hear. Admittedly, I think I spend most of my time streaming control decks, but I do like to do aggro every once in a while. I'm pretty sure writing a program that decides whether a given program will halt in finite time or not is more impossible. Well, you never know. Chris is my favorite Dimir aggro player. You say that, but I think I played Rogues like twice? Am I supposed to plummet a whelp on 2 so that I don't play this Scryland? I think I'm probably supposed to plummet a whelp on 2. I also miss Team Erect days. No! Maximum punish! Why does the world have no justice? I mean, this is still better than them playing a whelp on 2, though. Like saving the Scryland for later? I know exactly what I want to draw, though, at this point. I want to scry anything that's a land at the bottom. I appreciate the value of saving Scrylands in control decks. I do not think that aggro decks care about that to the same extent. Town-razer Tyrant's weirdly not good here, which is a strange thing to say. But I think we do a lot more damage if we plummet that Moonveil Regent right now. Is that true? That's probably true. Would I prefer to play the Forsaken Crossroads and scry, or get the Lair down? Huh. I think I'd prefer to scry at this point. Success. Chris, do you think this deck is better than the black-red deck? The black-red one I played yesterday? I still don't know if that black-red deck is actually good. I have, like, no idea. Oh, opponent, you are very sad right now, I see. Gotcha. It did win a lot, but... I don't have very high confidence in it because I didn't actually play it enough. I typically typically play Scrylands when I know I'm not going to need the mana that turn, but I'm also a commander player, so the advice may not be viable here. Yeah, I hate tap lands with a passion, so I play my tap lands the first turn I get any opportunity to do so. Interesting. Dolical Dragon next turn, huh? That explains why they cracked the egg if they were going to Divine Purge. I think I'm just supposed to Stormseeker. Oh, they intertapped as well? I'm not just supposed to Stormseeker there. I'm super supposed to Town-razer Tyrant the Cave of the Frost Dragon in that case. Wow. Divine Purge was better than I thought. Alright. Literally the first time I've ever cast anything with a Divine Purge on it. Okay. Well, this is interesting. I think I'm not Town-razer Tyranting again. Because I think I probably want to Treacherous Pup into Town-razer Tyrant? Never mind. I super want to plummet that dragon. Rewarded! Wasn't playing Pup before Toblerone better? No, because I actually wanted the Pup trigger to hit the Town-razer Tyrant, so it would be a 5/5 on the dragon. My plan originally was to play the Tenacious Pup post-combat, but having hit the Plummet means that that was another reason I was rewarded for not playing the Pup first. Inferno. Okay, but that can't swing. Opponent, that can't swing. That's not allowed to attack, you die. There's a Lair in play. Opponent. Okay. Sure. Did they forget that doesn't have lifelink? I mean, there's a lot of other ways I could kill them here, but that feels like the right way. Okay, so we did figure out some stuff about Forsaken Crossroads. Everything it does that tells you whether it's untapped or not, it only gives you that information if you currently have priority to play it. I do not believe that it gives you any indication at any point in time other than when you have priority on your main phase with the stack empty. I think that's what's caused me so much confusion thus far. Am I supposed to play Flame Blast Bolt? Because it kills exactly Whelp? That seems awful. I don't want to do that. This hand seems bad. This hand seems better. I'm going to consider keeping the Pup. I wish I could keep this Pup. Town-razer Tyrant as a 5/5 sounds like a good deal, but also Ranger class seems like it might be important. I'm actually going to keep the Pup. This is probably super wrong. Do not keep pups like this at home. The outline blue or yellow thing, I was only able to notice the difference on points where I... what's the word I'm looking for? I hate Thundering Rebuking this Fearsome Whelp, but I think I got to. At points where I had priority. It didn't seem to be appearing at other points in time. No! Fearsome Whelp number 2. But then again, my opponent is currently... am I supposed to Stormseeker or Tovolar? I think I want to try to get my 4th land because the opponent's missing land drops. Getting to Town-razer Tyrant is such a big deal. Oop. Not a 4th land. Bummer. Alright, you've had multiple discounts, opponent. What you got to play here? That's a problem. Please no 4/3 lifelinker. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it'd be a bummer. This hand is solid. It's definitely solid. Town-razer Tyrant. Okay, I can kind of live with that. It's much better than a lot of other options. I do not want to sacrifice my lands right now. Did not want to have Halana and Alena right now. Okay. I think I'm just turning Stormseeker into a card here. Kind of not stellar, but not terrible. I want my best chance to draw a land. Cool. Did draw the land. So that meant if I didn't play the Stormseeker and just swung with both my creatures that I would have played Town-razer Tyrant, which would have been better, but I don't think I could risk that. Unfortunately, I believe this has spiraled to the point where I cannot win now. Yeah, that's where it's at. Oh well, we tried. Opponent drew out of it too quick, and we didn't draw the land at the correct moment. Decline. Decline. Yeah. Good game. Opponent got there. Noi Albino 82. No. Noi Albinoi? Noi Albinoi 82. Thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Well, this is a weird hand that has a bunch of lands and spells it can't cast, but I'm going to keep it because Forsaken Crossroads scries, and scries fix everything. Does white beat Gruul and Clerics generally? Does mono white beat Gruul and Clerics? I don't know. I haven't seen a mono white list in Alchemy before. Generally, I think there's too many Meathook Massacre decks for mono white to be a thing. It just is an absolute dog to them. And it doesn't really have any good matchups to make up for that. White Weenie. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Alright. Ranger class is a thing we're allowed to play. Yeah, no point attacking Pup into Witch. Removal spell for my 2/2. This was on white. Okay. Hydra Mauling, so that just has to be straight 2-color. No snow? Interesting. Not true. White creatures start at 1/3 and go quickly. Meathook is ineffective till turn 5 or 6 when you're already dead. Yeah. I mean more to say that, like, they don't necessarily just lose to the opponent playing one Meathook Massacre. They... oh wait, no, this can come in untapped? Yeah, it might be worthwhile. They lose to the decks that play Meathook Massacre, because those decks are in conjunction with the rest of the cards that slow them down enough for Meathook to be good. Like, they're absolutely abysmal against these white-black sacrifice decks. And I tend to also think that it's really bad against Esper. Just a general white weenie list from Channel Fireball or something similar. And I can't say that I've seen... Wow, I'm super happy with them playing Cauldron Familiar off of the first Curseborn Witch. Okay. Sure. Getting 2 for 1 all day. Drawing the red source. Never didn't have it. Yeah, I don't know what an Alchemy mono-white list would look like because I haven't seen one of the lists yet. But I'm not a very big fan of mono-white in Standard, and I don't see it being better in Alchemy. Really? No! My only creature! That's annoyingly good here, other than the part where they aren't doing anything to the Town-razer Tyrant. And so they're in trouble because of that. Other than that part. As tempting as it is to play Tovolar and draw a card here, I think I'm supposed to fire up Lair of the Hydra for 3 instead to actually just push through damage. What do you have priority for on... Oh, activating the blood. Okay. This is still burning, right? Yes. Ooh. Opponent's willing to sack their City Stalker instead of blocking the 2/2? Okay. Well, they are losing the Snarl. That's probably good for me. It turning into night also seems good for me. I'm really glad that I traded my Lair off right before they played a Field of Ruin. I don't feel like my opponent has a huge number of ways to do anything meaningful here. I guess they could Meat Hook Massacre for 3. No, that's not good enough. They could Meat Hook Massacre for 2 and 1 mana removal spell Town-razer Tyrant. That also doesn't seem likely. Alright, what was our plan against white-black? I'm probably supposed to be playing Outland Liberator against them. I don't think I've been doing that in the past. I think I wanted Snakeskin Veil and Avabruck Caretakers. No on the Arsonist. Maybe on the Tyrant? It does fly. That's kind of useful. I think we play the Naturalist. Or rather, we think we don't play the Naturalist. Kind of hate like every 1-drop, but mostly I hate Packleader, I think. Seems like it's super easy to block. You know what, let's just cut all those. Bring the Naturalists back in. I'll play a 4th Halana, why not? I could play Brittle Blast. Do I want to? Do I really want to? I really don't want to. Nah. I've been confused about the Caretakers. Where do they actually come in? I've been boarding them in against pretty much every matchup that it felt like a hexproof threat might steal the game, which is to say most of the matchups where... So I've been boarding them in against the Mirror, where just one big creature feels like it could win the game. I've been boarding them in against Clerics, where stacking one flyer felt important. I'm boarding them in these matchups because I think the opponent struggles against a hexproof threat. I'm not convinced that they're great, but they seem appealing, at least. Emotionally. I think Brushstroke decks are losing space because the matchups are hard for them now and everyone's figured out how to play against it. I think these white-black Brushstroke decks are still pretty good against the creature decks. But I think that Brushstroke decks are kind of in a place where they're not, like, great against anything, but they're not bad against anything either. Other than that, I think black-red Brushstroke is good against control. But I don't think that it's great against the other aggro decks. It's not bad, but not great. And I think it's got a really rough time against Clerics. Maybe you could play a lot more removal than I was playing, and then it's better against Clerics, but worse against control. Yeah. I'm still kind of interested in the black-red list that I was playing yesterday. Are you sure, opponent? That would seem like a strange choice. So, what do we want to bet that the opponent forgot Vanishing Verse doesn't hit Rahilda's backside? Playing Reckless Stormseeker, if they don't have Vanishing Verse to give Rahilda +2 power and trample, is real appealing for card advantage. Tovolar, if I play it, they just chump block Rahilda, but they don't get to use the mana they left up for Vanishing Verse. I think I just hedge against Vanishing Verse and play Tovolar. So I agree that 6 mana for the Caretakers is a lot. Generally, I'm only boarding them in matchups where I think the opponent isn't really going to be capable of killing me very fast, or where I think that the matchup is likely to turn into a board stall. You're definitely unhappy to draw them early, but yeah. Oh, okay, Village Rites. I guess that would have rewarded Reckless Stormseeker by a lot. Is the Vanishing Verse backside Rahilda a bug? No. No. It's not a bug. It is probably a design oversight, but as it stands, they forgot to put the little color indicator next to the word legendary on the backside of this card, which means that it is not red. It is colorless. That's how the card functions as printed, but they probably printed it wrong. But that's not Arena, so it's not a bug. That's design. Well, I wanted to stay Knight, so I guess that I play Stormseeker. Do I give Stormseeker haste, or do I give Rahilda double strike and trample? I feel like if I give Stormseeker haste, I draw 2 cards. I think this is more? I draw 4 cards this... Well, I guess... Oh, no, opponent. I am sorry, that is wrong. Alright, so I draw 5 cards. Rite of Oblivion? Okay, seems fun. I'd like to draw Snakeskin Veil so I have something to do for 1 mana that doesn't turn it back to day. You know what? I can play Tenacious Pup. No. Even though that turns it back to day on my turn, I need it to be night on their turn so the Meat Hook Massacre doesn't wipe my board. Color indicators just suck in general. I wish they would have read all of them into the text box. I don't know that the text boxes need to be more filled, though. Okay, well, we didn't turn it into day, so opponent, I feel like that means you're probably gonna die? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Rahilda equals green Sphinx's Revelation. Reds, apparently. Kessig Naturalist into Town-razer Tyrant sounds fun. I hope I'm on the play. Banikos, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Also, Zeromi, who I missed. I'm sorry that I missed that. Oh, I'm on the play. Cool. We're playing against Mono Green, which isn't a great matchup, but we're on the play and we get Town-razer Tyrant kind of quick. So as long as we're lucky and the opponent doesn't play exactly Werewolf Packleader here, that's a bummer. Well, I can't really swing into that. I can't really not swing into it? Yeah. I kind of just lose against that, which is why I'm not a super huge fan of Kessig Naturalist. Galver Clan, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Magic experience, losing on 4 to Heliot combo, Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience, losing on turn 1 to one of 20,000 combos. You know what? I think that there's no way I win by playing Pack Leader next turn. I think like my one out is hope they don't have removal and that Town-razer Tyrant runs away with it here. No, opponent blocked. How could they do such a thing? Opponent didn't even respect my combat trick. Mwah. Yeah. Yeah, this deck is wildly unfavored against green. I think green might honestly be pretty well positioned right now if Esper's diminishing. I feel like Esper's its only truly bad matchup. Okay, maybe we draw enough cards for that to be good. Believe that Kessig Naturalist is better versus most Esper lists. Yeah, there are good matchups for Kessig Naturalist. I would not want to... Okay. Yep. You got me. Good one, opponent. Kessig Naturalist isn't a bad card, but I mean to say... more accurate would be to say that that's why I board Kessig Naturalist out so much against other creature decks. Boop, 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 boop. Cut the stuff that is only good if we're aggressive, because it's hard to be aggressive when the opponent plays bigger creatures than us. I still need to play 3 more creatures, huh? This is a good example of a matchup where I think Avabruck Caretaker has a chance to salvage it. If our game plan is to just, like, sort of go 1-for-1 with the opponent for a while and hope that with Halana and Alena or something we build a big enough creature to stall out the board, then Caretaker can win those games that you're not favored in otherwise. I guess we can play the Naturalist. It's not terrible. I think Snakeskin Veil as a combat trick is still meaningful. Is FBB too bad here? FBB. What would an FBB be? What does that name mean? FBB, FBB, FBB. Flameless Bolt. Yeah, it doesn't hit enough that actually matters. Basically, the limitation is that I need to kill their 4/4s. Anything that's smaller than a 4/4, I can deal with creatures. I don't need removal to answer it. Okay. Interesting. I guess I get rid of Snakeskin Veil here. Tenacious Pup, sure. That makes any 2-mana creature really awful for me. But if they don't have 2-mana creatures, I get to play Halana and Alena, and then I only get blown out by removal. Werewolf Packleader is the worst possible thing. Alright. Not great, not great. Lands is good. I like lands. But that's 2 games where I've had Kessig Naturalists on 2 on the play. But yeah, I just didn't have anything else to bring in instead of this Naturalist. Oh, that's a victory. I mean, my opponent's going to draw a card, and that's kind of awful, but my opponent didn't save a Blizzard Brawl for Halana and Alena. So now I need them to not have other removal, which is really unlikely because they have a lot of removal. I was boarding out Rangers classes on the draw against green. I don't think that it's, like, wrong. I don't have anything else to bring in instead. At least the Tenacious Pup draw means that if I hit an untapped land here, I can recover from Halana and Alena getting blown up. If they don't blow up Halana and Alena, then I get to make a 6/6, and that starts to be the stat line where green just struggles to do anything. So we can hope. Slowly we can hope. Okay, mana is a good sign. Wow, opponent choosing not to attack. Oh, you love to see it. Okay, I think I'm going Stormseeker into Pup here. And I'm not confident that's correct, because Stormseeker having Vigilance would be kind of nice in this spot. But I think I still want to play around my opponent removing my Halana and Alena, and having a bigger Halana and Alena would be radical. So now Kessig Naturalist is big enough that the opponent really can't do anything to attack into it. And sweet, we hit the point. Alright, well, since they didn't kill Halana and Alena, I'll just give the Vigilance and Trample to Tovolar. But yeah, this is why we board into the 4th Halana and Alena. Doing a lot more here than Arlen would have done. No attacks. We are going to sit here and dirtle, and you are going to like it, opponent. 1/6/6 invalidates infinity creatures. So 2/6/6 pluses invalidates infinity mini creatures? Question mark? Twice infinity mini creatures? Twice infinity mini creatures. Alright, let's target you and you. How big do we need this Tovolar to be? Okay, approximately that big apparently. Can you change the order of the triggers to get an additional +1/+1 counter? Yes and no. Yes, you can get an additional +1/+1 counter. No, you don't change the order. The default order is the correct one to get the additional counter, and that's what I was doing. That's why I was putting 3 counters on things every turn instead of 2. Or, well, 4 counters after it flipped to night. I still don't think I'm supposed to play Packleader. They don't block anything the opponent has. Would you change anything for your best of 3 mono green list since you last played? Definitely, because I didn't change anything for the mono green list the last time I played either. And I suspect that there are probably, at the bare minimum, I think that mono green list should probably have between 3 to 4. Probably not that many, but it should have a lot of trap breakers, and it currently has 0. I'll keep this, but it's really bad. Opponent didn't have Pup on 1? Oh my goodness. Opponent's priority is because of Lair of the Hydra. I hate that I'm going to have Kessig Naturalist turn 2 every single one of these games and that I don't care about that at all. In fact, I'm actually upset that Kessig Naturalist is eating this Tenacious Pup trigger. I would love to have been able to play it as a 2/2. Yes, I am 1,000,000,000% willing to trade here, opponent. I do not want this Naturalist. Snakeskin Veil? Yeah, okay. Hopefully that denies them another play. It did not. Ooh, okay, that was a real bad turn for me. I think I want to hold back the Stormseeker on blocking duty. Kind of forces the opponent to get cute with how they attack with his 2/2. They can just upgrade the Ranger class, but I think that's how I want them to spend their mana. Or they could just have Blizzard Brawl. Yeah, that's also a bad thing that could happen. Yeah, can't win here. How can we go over the top of green? Mostly stalling out with Halana and Alena, which we didn't draw. This is a problem. It's really difficult to go over the top of green. They just have better removal. I'm even getting lucky by the fact that my opponent's wasting Blizzard Brawls early to tempo me, which they shouldn't be doing. They should hold Blizzard Brawl as an answer to Halana and Alena, because very few other cards matter. Ooh, okay. Red and 7's kind of a wild choice. I guess that means that they're not playing Huntmasters? Either way, I can't beat it. Ugh. Not an exciting matchup to play against. Do we have Shatterskull Smashing? No, and it's not a good answer to green either. It's much, much, much too expensive. Green wins or loses the game before Shatterskull Smashing matters. Shatterskull Smashing is more useful against decks that have like important 1 and 2 mana or 1 and 2 toughness creatures. It's not a card you're excited to be using to kill 4 toughness things, especially when those 4 toughness things are like 2 and 3 drops. Oop. Alright, black-red, huh? What about 5-mana Tybalt? Not really. Too slow. what green has trouble with is you making a 6/6, not going big. That's why Halana and Alena and the 6-drop, I think, are good against green. But in order to make those good, you need to actually, survive to get to them. That's the tricky part we did not succeed at. Yeah, I don't think I need Packleader right now. Burning Hands on the sideboard. We have the 2 mana deal 4 to a creature, which is also good. But, gotta draw them. Burning Hands is the way to not die, and then Halana and Alena is the way to try to win. But the hardest part is that a good green player is still just going to hold the removal for Halana and Alena, so you kind of have to inherently get lucky. Even with a good sideboard plan, you're still not favored against them. I think I want to play Stormseeker here to make Halana and Alena better next turn. Opponent's only got 1 mana available, so I'm not expecting them to have a removal spell here. But they do have like infinity mana next turn. Being able to Burning Hands when they try to Blizzard Brawl is pretty good. Yeah, but the early turns don't involve holding up Blizzard Brawl on turn 3, or don't involve holding up Burning Hands very often. So, okay, I feel like this is probably that's bad. I feel like this is actually probably a pretty good learning moment in that it's if my opponent would stop just brutalizing me and let me say things. It sounds like the interaction between Burning Hands and Blizzard Brawl favors Burning Hands, but picture what those curve outs look like. What combination of hands involve on the early turns where it's deciding whether green kills you or not? Is your opponent likely to be sorcery speeding a removal spell, which implies that you have a creature in play that's worth killing, or that they care about, because if they don't care about it, they just don't Blizzard Brawl. And you also have 2 mana up for Burning Hands. There's not really a way that the game plays out in that fashion that gets the board state to that kind of a position. You think Growth and Green is 100% main deck? No. That was, like, I think a month ago, Roomty was saying that's what they were playing. This makes me sad. Okay, opponent whiffing with Velomachus makes me less sad. I don't know that it's worth it right now. Oh, do you also have removal for the Halana opponent? Okay. Good game. I definitely don't get to do anything against that. I'm curious what matchup these heavy removal... I guess this is good against Clerics. Is Clerics normally a bad matchup for Dragons that you would want a bunch of removal? Because it's not good against Brushstroke decks, and it's not good against Control decks to be doing heavy removal like that. It is definitely good against this deck. So that makes sense. I guess also main decking Adult Gold Dragons implies that they really want to build this Dragons deck to prey on aggro, and don't care so much about mid-ranger control. I think that's a viable way to build it. So I'm definitely just supposed to be on mass removal and card advantage, I think. What does that look like? I could theoretically not play too many Tenacious Pups. It's only super good if it hits Town-razer Tyrant, which just isn't actually something that happens that often. Would I rather have Outland Liberator than Tenacious Pup on the play? I don't know. Do I want Alena and Alena? I don't know. Limited Elements, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. If they want to be Clerics, all they need is Divine Purges. The only reason to go that heavy on spot removal would be the Dragon Mirror. Okay, I'd buy that. I'd buy that. Okay, yeah. I don't think that the Dragon's Mirror is what I want to respect, but I guess if I was playing Dragons, I'd have a higher opinion of Dragons and want to win the Mirror more. Did Carson write an article about this deck? I don't know. I saw the list posted on Twitter. On Fire Shoes' account is where I originally snagged it from. I think I gotta keep this, but it's gonna be very disappointing. No, we'll just draw an untapped green source, it'll be fine. Radiant Mine and the Common Zero. Thank you for following too. Glad you're also enjoying the stream. This is gonna be very quick if we don't draw 2 untapped lands. Okay, absolutely nothing is a start. Okay, not for me though. Still like a lot of Inquisitor decks going around. As far as I know, the only Inquisitor decks I've really seen are Clerics ones. I guess there's like some... Okay. Wait. They had Orb or Fearsome Whelp and didn't play it on 2? They thought they... Do you really want to keep up removal on 2 instead of playing a ramp spell against the aggro deck? Maybe? I feel like that was a mistake, though. They certainly got punished for it, but I think they're going to win anyway. I have no knowledge of Magic outside of Commander, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing and I feel like I'm learning. Hey! Happy you feel that way. That is definitely the biggest goal I've got. I figure if I'm learning, I'm probably going to help other people learn a little bit too. We're going to decline because I don't want to lose this land, I think. I'm going to play that. I think I need to kill their stuff more than play Stormseeker here. That's a weird time for that to pop purple, but okay. I would like to take less damage, please, opponent. So ideally, my opponent's hand is nothing but removal, and I top deck an untapped land and then 2 Town-razer Tyrants, and that gives us an out. I found that Arlen isn't really where you want to be. It feels like Arlen's fine against control, but Halana and Alena, in my opinion, is kind of just better. Emerged Predator. Yeah, I really don't like that card. I mean, I guess it's good against me here because my plan was to Town-razer Tyrant, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like this is so slow. Yeah, between Halana and Alena and Town-razer Tyrant, I feel like against control, your 4-drop slots are kind of filled up. And Town-razer Tyrant, I think, is just absolutely nuts against control. Exactly what you want to have. So, I think you potentially have room for Arlen as a viable... I'm losing too much life here, and I can't actually ever kill the Predator with Town-razer Tyrant. I had to be able to race it, which involved playing Town-razer Tyrant earlier than that. I feel like Arlen potentially has room against other aggro decks as a way to like stall out the game. Making 2 wolves is a decent number of blockers, but I think 2 mana removal is better for that purpose, in my opinion. Although, as that game demonstrated, it's a better threat / answer if you actually have the mana to play it. So here we're on the play with turn 2 Rahilda, which can make it difficult for the opponent to stop it from turning to... Oh, okay. Werewolf Packleader actually gives us some choices here. Packleader into Stormseeker is really strong. Rahilda into Stormseeker is stronger if the opponent doesn't play a 2-drop. But decks that play Kazandu Mammoth typically play a lot of creatures, which means I think it's pretty likely the opponent has a 2-drop there, which means I would rather go with the Packleader Stormseeker line. Mono green. 2-drop Packleader? No, Ranger class. Wow, I get to blow that out of the water. Yay! Alright, swing with 2 3/3s, draw a card. I think we're actually beating mono green this game, maybe. Especially because they didn't lead on Snow-Covered Forest on turn 1. So they can't easily bite me here. Which, if my Stormseeker doesn't die, means that I guess they could put a counter on the Wolf with Ranger class and then fight Stormseeker. That would be not stellar for me, but I'd still be very ahead. Huntmaster. Okay, that should be the game, I think. I think it's pretty difficult for the opponent to recover here. Most of the time, I think I would tutor up the 6/6 5-drop here, but maybe they have some other plan. But yeah, them being on the play against this curve, I don't think they really have a chance. Yeah, lands is good. It's hard for the opponent to answer the Stormseeker now. They have to answer Halana and Alena. They can go Snow-Covered Forest 4/4, fight Halana and Alena. And like, that's fine, but they still don't have a good answer to the Stormseeker in that case. Blightblade main deck. That's rather surprising. Sir Lennox, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Gruul Aggro, is this your own list? Not really. I copied most of it from Frank Karsten on Twitter. Though I've changed up the sideboard a little since then. I don't think of myself as a particularly excellent brewer of aggro decks. Usually when I'm brewing stuff, it tends to be control decks. Let's see. I suppose I'm probably just playing Tovolar. No, I was probably supposed to play a Stormseeker, huh? And Packleader. Oh, are we done? Yeah, I suspect that was probably lethal. Wasn't Stormseeker just game? Right there? I think most of the plays that we had were game. Like, I think literally any combination of casting any of the spells in my hand was lethal. Yeah, I think my opinion on what makes the Gruul Mirror better, I think more Thundering Rebukes, some Snakeskin Veils, more Halana and Alenas, and I think Avabruck Caretaker helps. I'm not completely confident in that, but I feel like cutting the Arlens for another Caretaker and a Halana, I think that's where I want to be. Can't win a game in Alk with green right now. I don't know what's going on. Have you gotten paired against Gruul? Because I feel like the matchup's pretty good for green there. But has just felt like being unlucky. Yeah, so the Plummet Tangle Trap thing, I'm still really unsure on. I'm pretty confident Tangle Trap is probably better against dragons because it hits the 2-mana Mana Rock. But Clerics was the big matchup that I wasn't sure which way to go. Hitting the Pyre of Heroes is sort of nice for Tangle Trap, but not hitting the flyers, not hitting the 2-drop that turns into a flyer when it gets 4 counters is kind of a downside, because it turns into a flyer when it's a 6/6, and not hitting the Angels if they have 27 life seems like a downside, but I feel like if Gruul isn't getting enough damage in early to stop the opponent from getting to 27 life, they're probably losing the game anyway, so I'm not sure if that's overkill. Put the Rebukes in the main, don't think the deck needs all the 2-drops. So that, I think that choosing to do that, oh shoot, I should sideboard. I think choosing to do that hurts your matchup against control matchups, and helps your matchup against aggro decks a little bit. I don't know. Let's see, we were playing mono green. These, this. Cut this, cut these. I think that was in time, and I think I didn't mess up the sideboarding too much. I think Gruul is a good choice for a deck if you want to prey on a control meta. I can't keep this. Oh, I'm going to have to keep this. This isn't bad if we draw a red source. I'm going to get rid of the Rahilda. I think if you are picking Gruul, you are picking Gruul because you expect a meta with a lot of control decks, and you really want to bully control decks, and I think Gruul is the best deck for doing that. So, to me, that means I want the main deck of Gruul oriented towards... Alright, we got a chance. Oriented towards beating control decks as much as possible, which means not playing the rebukes and just playing threats instead. I don't think it's going to be easy to beat Packleader on 2 here, kind of no matter what. I have a chance if the opponent doesn't have any removal here. For the Stormseeker or if they're missing land drops. That's interesting. Okay. Instant speed fight spell? Yeah, that's a problem. Not the worst thing in the world because they're not using it on the Halana and Alena, which would have been worse for me, but still not great. Still. Missing land drop is a big deal. Not missing land drop. Problem. Okay, Huntmaster's fine. Huntmaster's fine-ish. Okay, so Halana and Alena means that I get a 4/4 before they answer my Halana and Alena. The problem is going to be when they use their fight spell from the Packleader onto the Halana and Alena, attack and draw a card, and like, I kind of just lose if they have the fight spell here. Yeah. Because I can't even block the Packleader. We tried! We tried very hard. But Blizzard Brawl is a card. A very, very, very good card. What's the Cleric's deck everyone is talking about? So there's a couple of different builds of it, but essentially it's the idea of... Okay... You don't have Snakeskin Veil, opponent. Okay. Yeah. I cannot beat that. I do not have tools to beat that. Wait, I won game 1? Oh, I should have tried harder. Huh. Okay. I still don't think... I think I had like a 2% chance of winning that game, but I should have hung out for a 2% chance. Right. See, I don't expect to win game 1, so my brain refused to hold on to the possibility that we won game 1. Yeah, but so there's a couple of different Clerics decks out there right now, in a lot of different combinations of colors, but the general idea is that they play a bunch of creatures that are Cleric tribal, so that they get to play Pyre Heroes to birthing pod through all of them, but also that they generally just have a bunch of life gain synergies that make their creatures bigger. They do a very good job of stacking up creatures to pretty high stats very quickly, and the removal from the green-red deck tends to fall off after 4 or 5 damage, so when they start getting their stuff up to 6 toughness, they kind of just stonewall your entire ability to do everything. Nisanta 1, thanks for the follow. Also spawned 25 in Eugene 2023. Oh, I forgot to mention. Okay. This is a better hand on the draw than it would have been on the play, but I don't accept mulliganing, so we will keep. Oh, I should lead on Pathway? It doesn't matter. I mean, I should lead on green because I'm not doing anything else with it, but I don't have a second green, so I can't play a double green creature if we top deck it, regardless. Blightblade. Okay. Well, Am I supposed to Thundering Rebuke a Blightblade? I don't think I'm supposed to Thundering Rebuke a Blightblade. Dragon's good again if too many people on removal list green decks. In the sense of like too many people on Gruul? I don't think Gruul is bad against dragons necessarily. And I think mono green is actually like very favored against dragons. Okay. More Blightblades and a pup. Sure. Well, I feel like I don't care too much about these Blightblades. My opponent has one snow source, so the fight spell is weirdly not actually a big deal right now. And I actually have Brittle Blast to answer this 5/5 Old Growth Troll, so that's kind of radical. Problem is my opponent foretold that thing up there, and that thing up there is like an 8/8, so that's gonna be a problem. I can Thundering Rebuke Blightblade, swing with both creatures here, trample with Stormcharge Slasher to draw a card. I think I have to do that. I kind of hate doing that. Well, alternative, I could swing with both and trade both with Blightblades and draw 2 cards. Is that what I want to do? Then I still have Thundering Rebuke? No. I don't think that's what I want to do. Do I want to keep my Tovolar? I could just swing with the Slasher, trade, and draw a card. Keep the Tovolar. Attacking means I keep a Stormseeker, so the question is, would I rather push through more damage or give the opponent the choice of which creature to kill? I think I keep the Tovolar around. More land's not good. More land's quite bad. Drawing an Avabruck Caretaker right now would be fine as long as the opponent doesn't kill Tovolar. Ranger class? Okay, I can kind of handle that. Has the opponent not got a land? Okay. Opponent not having a land is a good sign. I don't think I attack here because I think I want it to turn into night. And if I attack here, I have to Snakeskin Veil to save my Tovolar. I do wipe their board, but I don't think that's good enough. Yeah, the Foretell Wolf costs 6 mana to cast. It's going to be absurdly huge. Get rid of Pup. I feel like in this spot, the most likely thing they tutor with Grizzled Huntmaster is Tangle Florahedron, if that's in their board, and then play it as a land. Take care, Jaws. I'll also... I will upload this to YouTube. I think that I'm probably not going to upload the bit in which we were watching the VML earlier, so that'll be TwitchBot only. Absolutely not. But the rest of the games I will upload to YouTube. Speaking of which, there's a link to the YouTube channel below if you're just watching for the first time and are interested in all of the older games that we've been playing. I've been uploading those for a month and a half now. Do I Thundering Rebuke the Huntmaster and attack with Tovolar now that it's already a 4/4, or do I have it turn to Knight? We don't know what card they fetched, because they didn't play it. Oh, those are cute sleeves. I like those sleeves. We turn to Knight, a 5/5, Trampler. I think I'm killing the Huntmaster and attacking with Tovolar here. Am I attacking with a 3/3 Lair? Probably not. Okay. Toski not scary here. Am I willing to trade Lair for my opponent not drawing a card? Yes. The rationale for that being that currently my opponent wins the game when they get to 6 mana, and I don't want that to happen. Sheesh. So it'd be such a nice time to find an Avabruck Caretaker. Or a Ranger class would be pretty cool too. There's a land. That's horrifying. Toski must attack. I find it unlikely my opponent will turn it to... Oh, okay, no. Still only 2 snow permanents, so Blizzard Brawl isn't good enough to kill my Tovolar in that spot. Scry? No, not Tenacious Pup. That's not the out. How much do I pump by here? If I pump by 5, the opponent goes to 7, but I can't play whatever I draw. How many turns ago was this foretold? Like infinity? It's going to be a... Let's see, they do 7 damage plus 12? 8 turns ago? Maybe not quite. I think I take the gamble and attack here. Oh, so rewarded by drawing a bad card. Alright, I would like to not be dead. Please don't be dead. I would like to not be dead right now. A 10-10 is fine. Well, it's not fine. I can't beat it. But I need it to not be a 12-12. Or bigger. 12-12 or bigger is bad. They're going to use it as a blocker. I love it. They're also drawing 2 cards first, which is kind of cool. I think it's actually super correct for them to use it as a blocker here. It was an 11/11 with trample. 6, 7. Yeah, I can kill the Harbingers. I can kill the Harbingers. I only die on the backswing. And I don't get to draw a card off of this either. That's the worst part. I'm not going to say that this is a favored matchup, but I am going to say that this was very complicated by the absence of cards that did anything. What's our out here? How much damage is this? 9, 13? Oh, my out was my opponent having 1 less damage? If they didn't top deck the forest, I could have taken 12 and top decked Tovolar for lethal? I guess they wouldn't have made this attack if they didn't have the land. Well, that's so close. Gonna put the fear in the opponent. Are you willing to believe I have Spike Field? Snakeskin Veil? No? Ah. Oh my goodness, that would have been lethal if they didn't hit the land, because I would have had the Tenacious Pup to attack. Oh, it hurts, but it's delicious. It's too bad Stormcharge Slasher doesn't have lifelink. I think the opponent noticed lethal. Opponent? No, you absolutely attack with the Old Growth Troll, opponent. Opponent? Opponent, you just die if I have a 3-mana deal 5. Well, no, actually, because then my Stormcharge Slasher... Well, okay, so if I have 3-mana deal 5 to Lair of the Hydra, and then play another Stormcharge Slasher, they die? I don't think there's anything with 1 mana that they... Oh, I could have Inscription of Abundance, but I still don't think holding that creature back plays around Inscription of Abundance at all. Their build of mono green was a little different than normal. They were main decking the Death Touchers, which is kind of strange. I feel like that's bad against most decks. Secker MTG and Gianluca95. Thank you for the follows. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to mulligan hands that have Stormseeker and 3 mana. Mostly. Hopeful Initiate. Okay. That doesn't seem like a scary card. You want to trade, opponent? Okay. Nope. Good to know. At least I don't need to worry about qualifying. No, I would have been asleep probably about 8 hours ago if I had to get up tomorrow for the tournament. Thalia. Alright, well that's not good against me. Tovolar is definitely a better blocker here, but am I just supposed to be aggressive instead? Stormseeker is a lot better if we play Halana and Alena. But I don't know if I actually care about playing Halana and Alena. I think I just play Tovolar. Okay. Opponent on incredibly ambitious mana base .aggro, the archetype that you definitely want to have an incredibly ambitious mana base in. Maybe there's a reason for that, I guess. Hopeful Initiate, okay. Sure. I don't really get it, but sure. Tiny sidetrack. Games have been going, yeah, not stellar. Not playing against a lot of control, but having fun. Having fun. How do we want to do this? I think we just make Tovolar big and then swing with Tovolar. See about drawing cards. Really? You're sure, opponent? Okay. Well, I like this. Fine by me. I don't feel like that leaves you with a board, though, opponent. Don't you need a board? Krogies is on Naya. I'm not very big on the idea of trying to be an aggressive deck with, like, a bunch of tap lands and the potential that you just can fail to play your cards. This seems like a really loose attack, opponent. I'm kind of satisfied with this. I could have played Kessig Naturalist and given it haste, and then played a 3-drop post-combat, but I think just putting more counters on stuff is better. And this is a lot of power. This turn, instead of next turn. Is control not viable in Alchemy, or do you just prefer aggro in it? Oh, I prefer control. I was playing aggro tonight to shake things up. Alchemy is interesting. Every archetype has something that's viable in it. It is probably the most balanced format I think I've ever played. Now, there's a difference between the statement everything is viable, as in every archetype is viable, and the idea of, like, any jank deck is viable, because any jank deck is not viable, but there's a very elaborate rock, paper, scissors metagame going on right now, where there isn't really any deck in this format that is... I should probably play Stormseeker and Kessig Naturalist so that the Stormseeker can give itself haste. I don't need to draw cards, I just want to kill my opponent. But yeah, there are control decks that beat the mid-range decks and are fine against the aggro decks. There are mid-range decks that beat the aggro decks. There are aggro decks that beat the control decks. There are aggro decks that beat the aggro decks, but not the control decks. There are aggro decks that beat some of the aggro decks and some of the control decks, but not all of the aggro decks and not all the control decks and none of the mid-range lists. There are clerics. I don't even know what to describe clerics as. A deck that beats up aggro decks and then cries against Esper and is like against other stuff. What did we just play against? 3-color humans. Got it. Thundering Rebukes, I guess? And probably more Halana and Alenas. Arsonist? It's weird that Sigarda doesn't put humans into play when it attacks. The fact that it puts them into hand seems kind of weak. Alright, let's cut pack leaders against aggressive decks. I wonder if I'm supposed to play Caretaker against them. I don't think so. I think my creatures are bigger than theirs, so I don't need to try to go tall. I could play Flame Blast Bolt, maybe. But I don't actually want to cut any... Well, Town-razer Tyrant. Maybe I want to cut Town-razer Tyrant. No, they got enough creature lands that I think Town-razer Tyrant is an acceptable 2-for-1. Yeah, so Esper is a control deck that's good against the aggro decks. Izzet is a control deck that's good against the other control decks, but not against the aggro decks. There are brushstroke decks. The aggressive ones are favored against the control decks, but not against the other mid-range lists, and not against all the aggro lists. The mid-range brushstroke decks are good against the aggro lists, but not against the control decks. Although they're not like super unfavored, and they're not... Yeah, they're not super unfavored. The mono-green aggro deck is good against Izzet, not good against Esper. It's good against most of the creature decks, and it's good against dragons. It's not super great against some of the mid-range lists, but fine against other brushstroke aggro lists. Missed Azorius Control. I think Azorius Control is just worse Esper. I haven't seen a spot where there's like a reason to play it. Which, you know, it's kind of disappointing, but I think that's where it's at right now. I don't think... So it's weird. I don't think Azorius is bad. I just think Azorius is slightly worse than Esper without a reason to prefer it. Against what matchups are Avabrucks for? Mostly creature mirrors, where we kind of get into board stalls. Am I supposed to try to race here? I think so. So, like, against mono green, I bring in the Avabrucks because they have trouble getting over a 6-drop, or a 6-power creature. Similarly, yeah, that's not stellar. I've been bringing them in against super removal heavy decks that don't have a solid plan to, what's the word I'm looking for? Answer a hexproof threat. Best deck is Black-White Sack. I think Black-White Sack would be my choice if you want a deck that's like 50% against everything. It doesn't have any great matchups, and it doesn't have any terrible matchups. You want to jump block to save 2 life and deny me a card, opponent? Doesn't seem like terribly ideal. Sweet. We get to curve out a pup. Gooning is like undefeated with Esper versus Orzhov Sack. Yeah, I don't think Orzhov is very good against control, either control deck. I don't think it's terrible, though, if you play it well and have an actually good sideboard plan. Seems the strongest decks are the control-based ones. I mean... the control decks are good right now. I think Esper is pretty close to the overall best deck, but it does depend on metagame percentages. And at least last weekend, Gruul turned out to be very successful because it was a deck that preyed on Esper extremely efficiently. I feel like I probably just want to attack and then turn it back to day. I think we win this game. I don't really see the opponent with good blocks here. Demian86 went live with 26-0 versus Black-White. Is that in best of 3? Are those really your best blocks, opponent? I guess both my creatures have 6 power, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I was going to say, that seems like you're still losing by a lot. Wouldn't main deck a Braid make some sense given what you said about the meta? I don't think so. Most of the matchups that Gruul has trouble with are matchups where your opponents are playing stuff that's a 4-4 or bigger. And the main value of a Braid in decks like Izzet is that it's a removal spell against aggro, which you need to fill your curve, and not dead against control. But Gruul doesn't want to, like, abrade control's key. Gruul wants to play a creature and kill control. I don't love this, but I don't hate it. Maybe we'll get to play Town-razer on 3? Feel better about that if we were on the play. Here's the list. Cursebone Witch, Eye Twitch. Okay, this is a lot more 1-drops than I've seen. Deadly Dispute, 3 Meat Hooks, 4 Rite of Oblivion, 3 Vanishing Verse, bunch of Wedding Announcements, Brushstrokes, some City Stalkers, some Sorens. Okay, Sideboard, 4 Duress, 3 Go Blank, 2 Lolth. Yeah, I absolutely can't believe this is good against Izzet or Esper. I imagine it could be better against Esper, because Esper would need to draw a bunch of card advantage, but I'm 100% confident this deck is very unfavored against Izzet. Just don't see how Gruul can be successful when clerics are everywhere. I would say clerics are probably like 15 to 20% of the metagame. But yeah, that's one of your bad matchups. Every deck right now has bad matchups. But clerics is a deck that doesn't really beat control super efficiently. What am I supposed to play here? I feel like Packleader is the right play. My opponent's removal doesn't currently have Vanishing Verse, so in all likelihood they just bounce Werewolf Packleader. Yeah, it's very balanced. This is the most balanced a metagame I've ever seen out of a Magic format. Admittedly, I haven't played a lot of older formats, but those tend to be balanced more because there's what's the way to put this? Less attention on them? Alchemy seems like there just isn't a correct best deck. I think I'm supposed to play Town-razer Tyrant here. If the opponent had... They might have Dwar Disruption, I suppose, but I think if they have like a bounce spell... I really would have expected that they would have divided by 0 the Werewolf Packleader last turn. That must have been the top deck. What do you think of the 3-mana Tempo Sweeper? It's like Divine Purge or something. I think that it's a reasonable card. I think in certain metagames, like against clerics, it's actually a very reasonable card to play. I think we go with Halana and Alena here over Town-razer Tyrant, but it's kind of close. Yeah, kind of close, but I think I prefer that. Divine Purge is a lot better against some decks and a lot worse against others. I think it has a role to play. Boop. I think it's worth removing my opponent's ability to make a creature blocker later on here. Okay, opponent immediately sacks the land. Not making this land drop's kind of a bummer, but... What's Blue-White's win condition? Do they play Hullbreaker Horror? I mean, win condition number 1 is they cast a draw 3 here. Yep. Okay. My opponent's win condition is they don't run out of cards. Got it. Would love to draw an untapped land. You know what? Ascendant Packleader, you're good enough. Alright, opponent. How much is infinity mana? Is infinity mana and infinity cards good enough? Yeah, Doomscar's. Doomscar's good. Got me there. Teferi is going to be a real problem. We did not really get on the board fast enough. Yeah, now we've gotten to the point where I can't really win unless the opponent messes up. Yeah, we're definitely approaching the point at which there is no possibility the opponent runs out of resources. What do you think about the Gruul mana base with all these Rockfall Vales and playing red alongside double green 2-drops? It's been functional so far, although I do think that possibly I want to play like one more land in the list. Maybe like cutting a Kessig Naturalist? I don't know. Okay. Well, that's pretty bad. Reckless Stormseeker I would describe as probably the best draw, but I feel like there were a lot of turns where if we'd hit a 6th land, started to do 2 things at once, maybe we had a chance, but the opponent's also played 5 board wipes? 4. And that's pretty good. Yeah, the general... It's tough to evaluate what tournament metagames are going to be like based on the ladder results. You can't trust the number of decks you see played on the ladder. You have to intuit what relative win rates are against one another, and then account for what decks are getting visible popularity from... I shudder to say the word influencers, but at least in this context of like influencers and magic circles, this is correct. On like Twitter primarily. That's the best way to predict tournament metagames I've seen. Or, well, that I've succeeded at using. There needs to be a Grafdigger's Cage for Seek. Oh, Seek's fine. It's just drawing cards. Heck, most of the time I'm happy when Seek hits a land. Not with Captain. I mean, if anything, I think Seek is a better mechanic than the Collected Company equivalent that uses, like, wide variance RNG as a balancing mechanic, which I don't like. Seek is a narrow band RNG mechanic in that there's some element of randomness to it, but you're in control of it while building your deck to an extent, and it has lower highs and higher lows. What are we playing against? Right, Snakeskin Veil and Outland Liberator, and then we cut... What did we cut? Kessig Naturalist, I think? I forget what I was cutting against Control. Whatever. I actually really like Seek. I think Seek is not an RNG mechanic. I think Seek is a mechanic that reduces RNG compared to the default of drawing. We're just more accustomed to the idea of drawing a card and not feeling like that's random. Alright, well, I have a plan, and the plan is pups, I guess. Sunset Revelry. You know what? Okay. I guess that means I'm not attacking with my 2-1 Packleader. Yeah, I am. Actually, I want to trade the 2-1 more than I want to trade 2-1-1s with a 3-2. Opponent recognizes that and agrees. I could Snakeskin Veil here. It's on white. Yeah. Think this might be worthwhile? Odds are that my opponent casts a 3-mana board wipe next turn anyway. If my opponent casts a 3-mana board wipe, then I kind of want there to be more pack leaders in play. And if they don't cast a 3-mana board wipe, I'm absolutely thrilled about that trade, I think. White. Untap. Board wipe. Scry. Scry foretell. Oh, opponent. Opponent so kind. Yeah, I think I'd rather level up Ranger class here than animate Lair of the Hydra. I am not committing Pack Leader to the board. Because that's a Doomscar my opponent foretold. I'm absolutely shocked. If that's a Fading Hope, I'm in so much trouble for animating this Lair of the Hydra. If it's a Fading Hope, I'm also in trouble for playing the Pack Leader anyway. So there's no real playing around it. Cool. Okay, opponent at 3 with me having a Lair of Hydra in play really restricts what they can tap out for here. Or they can just play Field of Ruin. Sure. Okay. Do I force them to Field of Ruin me? Is that ideal? I think that's probably ideal. This is the worst possible time they could feel. Oh, no, never mind, never mind. It's bad for them, except that it does play around Snakeskin Veil, so it's correct. That said, I've used my only Snakeskin Veil. It's bad and then I get 1 more mana to do stuff with, but I actually don't have a way to use that mana anyway, so it works out perfectly for them. Pack leadering plus level is an option there, but by forcing my opponent to Field of Ruin, I deny them the ability to do other card drawy stuff with their mana. Which I think is somewhat valuable. Doomscar. That's a good sign. Tovolar. Tovolar, you're necessary, actually. And the fact that they played Doomscar is a really good sign that they kind of are short on efficient answers to creatures. Lair plus gain life. I see. Okay. Put the opponent to 2. Try to draw a land. Fail. Okay. If the opponent Doomscars, they kill Lair. I wonder if I was supposed to not play the Reckless Stormseeker and hold it in case they had to Doomscar here. That might have been correct. I might have made a mistake. Wonder how much I'm supposed to play around board wipes. I'm not confident I'm playing this correctly at all. Oh, thanks, Camden. It was a lot of fun to get to be on that. There. Despite probably misplaying a lot, aggro-y creatures got there. Changes? Wonder how much I'm supposed to care about answers to Lair. I don't think the answers to Lair are correct. I feel like it's that time of the night where I'm like starting to fade away because I can notice myself taking long stretches without talking, which kind of defeats the purpose of streaming. But there were no sideboard changes there, and so I did not have much to say. Okay, this is a hand. Am I supposed to play Packleader because it's better against everything except Sunset Revelry? Or Tenacious Pup? Well, I am now going to play Tenacious Pup because Rahilda is the better 2-drop, and I would like it to be a 3/3. Oh, but Tenacious Pup makes them gain 4 life if they Sunset Revelry? That's delicious and amusing. Well, Rahilda here. We're in trouble if we don't draw lands for a while. So we assume this is Doomscar. 69 Thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Alright. Well, the opponent didn't have a 2-drop, so my Rahilda gets to do stuff. Sunset Revelry. Does that do anything right now? No. Fateful Absence, destroy target creature or planeswalker. And I'm missing the land drop, huh? I kind of want a Fateful Absence Tenacious Pup. Hey, Numbskull! Thanks with the raid! Thanks for the raid. How'd the stream go? You joined me deciding if I want to kill my own pup. Which sounds worse now that I say it out loud, but, like, technically I have a reason to want to do that. Who was this on? White? Blue. They don't have double white, you say. Okay, that kind of changes the context of this. I guess then I play the Outland Liberator. What's the reason? So my opponent has a Doomscar Foretold, so playing creatures to the board isn't very useful. I've already got a Rahilda that kind of is forcing the board to get wiped. But yeah, okay, my opponent can just not have white sources, so this is all fine. If we hit an untapped land, I think I just win. No, if we hit an untapped land, I put the opponent to 1. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to Fateful Absence key now. Oh, I can't. It's not that good. Dang. Alright, well, we're going to play Tenacious Pup so that the Stormseeker comes down with 1 more power. Which, conveniently, doesn't matter at all. Because I forgot 5 is not 6. It's also not 7. So this is going to do 6 damage, and the opponent's going to be at 7. But it's also going to turn back today. And it only does 4 damage to the fairy? Dang. We were really close if we had drawn an untapped land. Jeez, this is miserable. Take care to 4. Thanks for hanging out. Demonic Tutor, huh? For what? Probably, if I had to guess, the best thing for them to Demonic Tutor here is Divide by 0? But not to hit the pack leader opponent. No, you wanted to Divide by 0 and hold it for me playing a 3-drop with haste. Yeah, opponent draws 3 and holds up 2 mana. That's pretty good. Yay, a land! Huzzah! We did it! I still super don't like the fact that Teachings of the Archaic punishes your opponent for being on the draw and missing land drops. That seems like fundamentally the opposite way a card should be designed. I don't have an alternative to that, because figuring out a way to make it not do that is difficult. But, yeah, don't love that. Does not seem ideal. Good news is I have lots of cards to do stuff with. Bad news is I don't have a lot to do. Okay. I technically have Fateful Absence, so I'm not quite dead yet. I'm only like... I don't really have enough time to say how many 9s that would be. 99.999? I think 5 9s. 5 9s feels like the right number of 9s. That much dead. I need my opponent to have no cards and also whiff on a Teferi hit. And I think they're guaranteed to have a card with key. Yeah. They were in fact guaranteed to have a card with key. Alright, we'll take the play. This hand is good. I like this hand. Cross and grip their own key? No, that still is good enough, I think. Claim? Right, claim is a sorcery. But they still could have bounced our pup with claim, and that probably was still good enough to win the game. Because I needed to attack with a pup to have a removal spell for the horror. Gazandu Mammoth, anyone in this deck? I don't know that this deck is super excited about playing a land drop. It is tapped. It's not out of the question. I think if I wanted to play more lands in this deck, I would probably just cut something and play an untapped land. And if I was going to cut a land for a modal double land, which I wouldn't, it would have to be an untapped land. Do I want to play Naturalist or Ranger class? I think I'd rather play Ranger class so I can get a counter on Stormseeker. Oh, actually, I forgot that I can attack with Pup into Packleader. It doesn't have 2 toughness. This feels very good currently, because we are on the play, and the opponent has not played a 2-drop, and we have curved out on every turn of the game. And that's usually good. Okay. Oh, and my opponent's missing land drops. I am sorry, opponent. I feel your pain. We will put the counter on Stormseeker, because I'm not really interested in that dying here. Opponent is free to trade with literally any of my creatures they want. All of that seems good to me. I feel like there is probably not a terribly large number of things the opponent can do that are relevant at this point. Tovolar is definitely not one of them. Is this lethal? I feel like this is probably lethal. I'm going to operate under the assumption that this is lethal. We draw a card, we put things, jump block, take 7. Hey, look at that, it's Xaxes. Ah. I'm going to pretend I did the math on that. So, mirror match. Cut the Packleader because it's outsized too quickly. Cut Kessig Naturalist because it never does anything. Cut Volatile Arsonist because it's too slow. Cut Town-razer Tyrant because 1, we're on the draw and that's not where it's at its best, and 2, it's just kind of slow and not great. Play removal. Play tempo. Play go over the top after a board stall. Play more Alena because it's a good card. And then sit here and stare at Kessig Naturalist. I guess I'll play it. I don't like it. Yeah, in every given match, there's one Gruul player who's guaranteed to not have good land drops, huh? So I suppose that makes the mirror the ideal place to be. Yeah, the one Snakeskin Veil is kind of weird, but there's not a lot of room to bring it in against control, and that's the matchup where it's good. So, like, I bring it in against these mirrors because it's a low-cost combat trick. This hand is really weird because I'm going to have to play both of my pathways on red, but Tenacious Pup into Packleader does too much anti-aggro for me to not keep it and play it. And we drew a red source. Everything's cool. Do they run Ranger class? In Gruul? Yes. Okay, Tenacious Pup's not the scariest 2-drop. Alright, we have gotten out to an early tempo lead. We also have Halana and Alena in our hand, which is the most important card in the mirror. Tovolar. Okay. What do I do about Tovolar? Do I Thundering Rebuke it, or do I play my own Tovolar? How much trouble am I in if they use a removal spell on my Packleader? I double block Tovolar, opponent draws 2? That's pretty bad. I block 2/3 Pup and 1/2 Pup, opponent draws 1 card? That's not horrible. It's not good either. I guess I get to draw 2 cards on the backswing, so that's actually fine. Could be worse. Oh, I also get to attack with my pack leader here because it's got Vigilance. Oh yeah, actually that's real solid. Oh, flipping the Knight's a good point. Yeah, too late. Should have Thundering Rebuked. Def so should have Thundering Rebuked. I guess that doesn't actually change the math other than I'm taking 1 more point of damage. They still Thundering Rebuke the pack leader, but in that case, I've got a 4/4 Tovolar. I don't block their Tovolar if they attack. Oh, do you also have the 1 Snakeskin Veil opponent? You wouldn't make this attack unless you did, right? Okay. I think that's actually just totally fine for me that they made that attack. I think they shouldn't have. Maybe they were supposed to. I guess the alternative is pretty bad for them. But I feel like I'm winning now. Am I shipping with Pup? I could do some damage, but I think that's actually bad for me if the opponent plays a Tovolar. Well, we have Alana and Alena, which makes most things that happen this turn good for me. Opponent attack still indicates Snakeskin Veil. Opponent still not willing to Snakeskin Veil. Okay, 1 card remaining. Instant speed removal for Halana and Alena. Nope. Okay, well. Unless my opponent goes a land, Avabruck Caretaker, I think I win. Town-razer Tyrant is not relevant. Howdy, Yoko. How goes it? Am I willing to sacrifice this? Absolutely not at all. Who needs Snakeskin Veil? That's not what we're here for. We are here to make big Stormseekers. Absolutely massive Stormseekers. If I swing with Halana and Alena here, the opponent triple blocks it. We kill the Town-razer Tyrant. Wait, I don't care. I have another one. Good talk. Wait, you have all these abilities and not Vigilance? Yeah, well, still fine. Still fine. Opponent takes infinity damage. Okay. Goes to 6. Unfortunate for me that the opponent was at infinity and 6 life. But, yeah, pack leader, not quite good enough to do anything. Town-razer attacking involves tapping an opponent. Are you sure about that? Okay. We will decline to sacrifice Lair of the Hydra because I have no need for life. Never have, never will. Let's remove a blocker. And then Snakeskin... Oh, are we done? Okay. Yay!